Today was the day Olivia booked her appointment at the dog shelter. She had been looking at dog pictures online all week. She was, in fact, spoiled for choice, in a sense, while also realizing that choosing a dog would come down to seeing it face to face. But finding a dog that spoke to your heart was like a box of chocolates. You never knew what you were getting till you opened it up. So, what odd experience was Olivia destined to encounter at the shelter today? Ever since she was little, Olivia had always been a dog lover. But her parents were poor and couldn't afford to domesticate one. So she looked forward to the day when she could own one for herself, on her own terms. While growing up, owning a dog was right smack in the middle of her vision board. When she finally moved away from her parents' house and got her first paycheck, she immediately planned to go over to the animal shelter. As she walked in, she greeted the attendant who then gave her leave to scan the room for a dog she might like. The first thing she noticed was there were a lot of homeless dogs everywhere, and to her pleasant surprise, she even recognized some of them from her online browsing session earlier in the week. But upon seeing Willow for the first time, she immediately fell in love with her. Willow was a pug, and Olivia was so taken by her that she yearned to know her story. And the attendant was all too eager to tell Olivia about it. Willow had once known the warmth of a loving home and the comfort of human companionship. But life took an unexpected turn when her former owner made the decision to move across the country, leaving Willow behind at the house. Having grown dependent on the regularity of meals and the certainty of a comfy place to lay down at night, Willow went for days without food until she realized the bitter truth. She had been abandoned, and the humans she had come to love were now gone. Confused, alone, and struggling to survive, she found her way out of the house and onto the streets. The years that followed were marked by hardship and uncertainty. Willow wandered from one neighborhood to another, relying on the kindness of strangers for scraps of food and a safe place to rest her weary body. She got less of the latter and usually ended up out in the cold on most nights. She faced harsh weather conditions, fended off other animals, and encountered all the familiar dangers of the streets. And it was a testament to her resilience that she had come this far. Sadly, during her time on the streets, Willow developed a host of ailments that kept piling up as the years wore on. Her once glossy coat became matted and dirty, infested with fleas and ticks. Her paws bore the scars of rough pavement and sharp objects she encountered during her wanderings. She endured bouts of hunger and dehydration, and her body grew weaker with each passing day. But despite the hardships, Willow's spirit remained unbroken. She was a pug after all, and the breed was known to be highly optimistic despite their plain facial features that never gave much away. She possessed an unwavering strength and an indomitable will to survive. More importantly, she yearned for a second chance and a loving home where she could feel safe and cherished once again. But to be fair, any dog or animal for that matter, who was out on its luck, desired the very same thing, and usually it began by being rescued by animal rangers. Fortunately, that second chance came when a compassionate passerby noticed Willow's plight. The person called a local animal rescue organization, who swiftly arrived to provide the aid Willow desperately needed. With gentle hands and kind hearts, they coaxed her into a crate and transported her to the shelter. And it was the same shelter where Olivia presently stood. At the shelter, Willow received the care and attention she had long been deprived of. Veterinarians examined her, treating her ailments and nursing her back to health. The staff members showered her with love and provided a comforting environment, slowly mending her broken trust in humans. But while telling the story to Olivia, the attendant had totally ignored mention of a vital aspect of Willow's history. Was it deliberate on her part, or had she honestly forgotten to say something? Whatever the case, Olivia would be left to pick up the pieces. But exactly what cruel card was Olivia about to be dealt, and how did she counterdeal? Meanwhile, Olivia brought Willow home, and in that moment, when they crossed the threshold, the two formed an immediate bond. Willow's playful antics and wagging tail brought a newfound happiness into Olivia's life. They spent their days exploring the neighborhood, playing fetch in the park, and curling up together in the evenings. However, unbeknownst to Olivia, a dark secret loomed over Willow's fragile existence. The animal shelter attendants, overwhelmed with their responsibilities, had failed to inform Olivia about Willow's terminal illness. Willow had been diagnosed with a rare condition that would severely limit her time with her new owner. She was suffering from a rare heart condition that had resulted from all those years out in the streets. There was bacterial buildup in her lungs that slipped into her bloodstream and began to stick to the walls of her arteries. In the intervening years, it had accumulated and now it had reached very fatal levels. For the first few days at home, it was all fun and games, but soon enough, Willow's enthusiasm started to wane. Olivia began to notice, and it worried her, but she was somewhat helpless as to know what to do or how to help. The vets she had consulted had very busy schedules, and no one had an appointment for the foreseeable future. Days turned into a week, and Willow's health gradually deteriorated. She began to lose her appetite, and her once energetic demeanor grew increasingly subdued. Olivia initially dismissed the setbacks, believing Willow would bounce back with a little extra care and attention. But as the days passed, Willow's condition worsened. Olivia finally got an appointment with a veterinarian in another state, even though she had to pay double the fee. The veterinarian conducted a series of tests and delivered the devastating news. Willow's illness was more advanced than anyone had realized. It had progressed to a point where no treatment could save her. At that instant, Olivia's heart shattered into a million pieces. She couldn't comprehend how such a short time together could be cruelly cut short by a secret hidden from her. Anger and grief engulfed her, and it was mostly directed at the shelter which had failed both Willow and herself. In the final days that followed, Olivia poured all her love and care into Willow. She stayed by her side, comforting her and ensuring that she felt loved until her last breath. The bond between the two became even more stronger, as one that transcended the barriers of time. Willow's eventual passing would never dampen Olivia's spirit, and even though their time together was short, it didn't take anything away from the impact it had on Olivia's well-being. It is said that certain individuals briefly grace your life to propel you towards an ultimate goal, and Willow definitely represented that entity which Olivia needed at this point on her journey. When Willow's final moments arrived, Olivia held her tightly, tears streaming down her face. She whispered words of love and gratitude for the brief but profound influence Willow had had on her life. Olivia also acknowledged that she was privileged to have given Willow a loving home, even if it was only for a short while. And that home was where he has left this world to the great beyond. It was a blessing in disguise, as far as Olivia was concerned. Moreover, it was the sort of thought that could have crossed Willow's optimistic mind. That is, if dogs could think out loud. In the aftermath of Willow's passing, Olivia found solace in the memories they had shared. Despite the heartbreak and the feeling of injustice, she recognized the beauty in the love they had experienced together. Willow had taught her the power of compassion and reminded her of the fleeting nature of life. Determined to honor Willow's memory, Olivia became a champion for greater transparency in the operation of rescue shelters. And she worked tirelessly to ensure that every animal found a loving home, free from hidden secrets and untold illnesses. Though Olivia's time with Willow had been painfully cut short, their bond would forever live on in her heart. Olivia was no sooner buried in Olivia's backyard, with a proper headstone to mark her grave. And just as well, Olivia was determined to always remember her.